So before I hit the labs, I decided, so I just can show you what kind of switches Cisco has been using or are being used. So that's the reason, I added this slide. As you can see, these are known as the catalyst switches. Okay, so the catalyst, whenever somebody is saying something like, can you check this catalyst or this something, it means they are 100% talking about the Cisco switches. So catalyst basically, basically that was like the X company owned by the Cisco, and then they, just kept this name, catalyst. Okay, so the switches, if we talk about the layer 2 switches, so these are the models. Like these are the main models: 2975, 2970, and 2960. You can remember this just by this keyword 2, the digit 2. It means these belong to the layer 2 switches of the catalyst switches. Okay, and Krista, can you tell me layer 2, what does it mean by layer 2?
By layer 2, that means the collision can be forward.
No, I mean the OSI. Which layer we are talking about? Layer 2?
Layer 2. The name of the layer is data link layer?
Yes, exactly. The data link layer. And these switches are purely used on data link layer. Why I am saying this? Because the next module, which is Catalyst 3750, 35560, 3550. These are layer 3 switches. Basically, they are L2 plus L3. And what does layer 3 means, Crystal?
The name is network.
Network layer, where we have the routers. Okay.
Yes.
So these kind of switches, they play a role not only in layer 2 plus layer 3 as well. So they are capable of doing switching, like you said earlier, like MAC addressing, these kind of things, plus routing as well. It has to do with IP as well. This one has to do with MAC. So both things can be done here on this layer 3 switches. And then we have layer 3 chassis. Basically, as you can see, Catalyst 4500, 6500, and we have already talked about these chassis. These have redundant power supplies. These have supervisors, basically the brain of your router or the switch. Okay. And as you can see, these are called blades. These things, you just can slide out and slide in these, very easily. So they are also work at the layer 3. Usually in data center or in service provider, they use these kind of devices. Okay. Then we have Cisco routers, the common Cisco routers. As mentioned here, Cisco 1600, 1700, 1800, and 1900 series, basically being used in like home or small lab environments, even the small organization as well. I do remember this was the one that we were using in our organization in the hotel environment, basically. And then we have Cisco 2600, 2800, 2900. I will correlate to this one. And these are like in a medium organization, they are being used. And then these are like large or enterprise network, Cisco 3800 and 3900. And then we have these also same like chassis kind of things, blades, Cisco 7200, 7300, and 7600 being used in a carrier environment like ISP service providers. Then I have mentioned we have, Cisco switches and the Cisco routers comes in the fixed modules and modular as well. Like the fixed switches, fixed routers, modular based routers, modular based switches. If somebody is saying this is a fixed switch, it means if I will just take a look of the back of this router, basically you will not see any kind of free space like this. You just can unscrew those panels and just can slide in the new module. Okay, so these are fixed modules, not modules, sorry, the fixed routers. They do not have any kind of modules behind that. But if you talk about like large or medium or these even, they have these modular, even this one does not have modules, but these have the blades. You just can like slide in, slide out, these kind of things. But these devices, they comes with the modular kind of things. Okay, so you just can unscrew and just can put whatever you want to. Like I have mentioned, we have WIC cards, which is basically WAN interface cards. And I have talked about these already in a Network Pro module. Then we have WIC card. It has to do with voice over IP. Voice over IP interface cards like FX supports or FXS. These things are a little bit advanced. Just focus on this one, like WAN interface card. If let's suppose this router does not have, or router this have only one WIC card, but maybe we have a requirement of redundancy. We have multiple ISPs. Then we will install this WIC card behind that, behind the slot. Okay, then we have Ethernet modules. If you take a look like this one, this is the router, but it has this Ethernet module that makes this one L2 as well. And why we use these L2 plus L3 in the same box, I will discuss a lot when we'll touch that portion. So if you have any confusion, you can ask, Crystal. Any question?
I'm gonna ask you later. Right now, I still kind of.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I will continue.
Okay.
Okay, so how devices are discovered and how they communicate. So I will do a lab for that, because that is the whole idea behind this session for this, especially for the CCNA, because we have learned so much about the ARP. We have learned about the Proxy Arp. I will talk about the inverse ARP as well. So we know that computers use ARP, but what is the process going on behind the scene? This is what I'm going to show you. So let's start with the lab. Can you see the packet tracer?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So from the switch section, let's drag and drop one switch. And simply just drag and drop two pieces. And select the cable. I choose automatically. It will be connected. And then I will assign the IP very quickly. And let's say the simplest one, 192.168.1.1. I will copy this one. So, I have a habit to document everything. So you also can make this habit, just document everything, whatever you are doing. Another thing you can do, you just can go into the command prompt and type ipconfig/all. Then you can get the physical address or the MAC address as well, because this is a very important part of the communication. So this also you can place here. So MAC address belongs to this PC0. And we know that from our previous study that every computer has its own unique MAC address in the universe. So let's very quickly give the IP to this one, like 192.168.1.2. And the MAC address ipconfig/all. So Crystal, you remember these things, yeah? How to get MAC and physical address. Okay, so the IP is given 1.1 and 1.2. So before I just ping these two devices, what I want to do, I just want to check what is happening inside the switch. So this is the switch. Just click on that and click on the CLI. As you can see, before I hit enter, you can see there is something going on. Interface fast Ethernet 0/1 change state to up. Fast Ethernet 0/2 change state to up, which shows basically this correlate to this interface, and this one correlate to this interface. So, as soon as I just connected the cable with the computer, these links came up automatically. So that is the notification all the time you will be seeing on your console. So these are known as the syslog messages. And why these things are important? Why these syslog are important? Maybe you are working on your router or the switch and something just came down, like this interface just came down. If these syslogs are disabled, the network administrator will not know what happened to my device. Okay, so he will dig deep and will check what happened. But if we have these syslogs enabled, you can just, you will feel so comfortable that these things are so good that pops up on your iOS console to make you aware that something has happened. So we know from our previous study that we need to go into enable mode, first of all, from user mode. Then on this, this is also known as user exit mode, or the other name of this one is privilege level 15. So to check the privilege, if you run this command show privilege, you will see what kind of privilege level this this interface or this current actually this state has. Okay, so privilege level 15 means you are going to do so many things. If you just type question mark, it will come up with so many commands you can use. Okay, but if I take you back on this user mode and just type question mark, you can see the difference. And here the privilege level is 1. Means this is the least privileges a user can have. So if I show you show privilege, you can see it is a privilege level 1. Okay, so go to enable mode. Then we have to run a command to see what MAC addresses this switch has learned so far. You remember we talked about the CAM table, content addressable memory table.
Yes.
Yeah, it means it is learning these MAC addresses, whoever is connected on this interface, whatever the MAC address is connected on this interface. So this switch is going to have this all information, it's CAM table. So, you know, and we remember that we talked about forward, flood. Remember, we talked about flooding, forwarding.
Yes.
Okay, so flooding will happen when this switch does not have any idea about the MAC address of either this one or this one. For example, if this want to send information to this computer, once it will hit this switch, it is gonna flood because it does not have idea about where this thing is connected. But the next time the same request will come and this switch is having information about this this computer, it's gonna forward directly.
Yeah.
So this thing where you can check, this is the command, show MAC address table. Hit enter and you can see there is nothing going on. Because right now this computer did not initiate any kind of ping. Okay, so let's try this one. And I will try to ping only one echo. So you need to, what you need to do, you need to click on this computer. Then you need to go into the terminal, sorry, command prompt, just like the command prompt we have in our computer. Okay, then ping, let's ping directly 192.168.1.2 and hit enter. As you can see, the reply is coming. It means we have end-to-end connectivity. So let's see the status of this MAC address now. Show MAC address table. If you know, even we at this level, we forget the commands. So what you can do, if you remember that that command was something related to MAC, okay, you have a clue at least. What you can do, show command, and then you can first of all type question mark. Even if you forget the command totally, you just can dig deep into check where is that thing. You can see that we have MAC and we have MAC address table. Okay, so other thing you can do, if you remember the first if you first of this like it's starting from where, like M, N or whatever, we know that it starts from M, and you can hit tab. It is not appearing. Then what you can do, question mark. Then you can see all commands related to M will appear, like MAC, MAC address table, MLS, monitor. Then further, if you can do MAC like this and this, you can see the unique command is available. Okay. So what you can do, show MAC address table, and just hit enter. Now you can see on my port fast Ethernet 0/1, which is this one. Who is connected with what MAC address? The PC.
PC0.
PC0. Yep. And then fast Ethernet 0/2, the MAC address is for this PC.
C1.
Okay. So this is how, you know, the switch they build these CAM tables. If you want, you can clear as well. Clear MAC address table. Yep. Just click enter. And again type show MAC address table. And now everything has been flushed out. Okay. Sometime maybe it require, because this is just like the concept and idea of cache in a web environment. Okay. If one website is cached, okay, but maybe that website is making some issues. Okay. You want to remove that cache totally. You just can flush DNS. Okay. So this is the same concept. You just can flush, and then you can type show MAC address table. You can see that all MAC addresses has been flushed out. So next time, again, if you will ping, and just come to this one and hit show MAC address table, the same information you are gonna get. So Crystal, tell me, what is the default VLANs to communicate on the switch?
VLAN 1?
Yep, exactly. That is the reason we are seeing VLAN 1 here. Because once you connect the device with the switch, it is by default VLAN 1. But what if we want to change this one? We can change. And you know that how we can do. First of all, there are two methods, let me tell you. First thing, like you can do VLAN 10. And you can create the VLAN. And you know why we use VLAN. VLAN basically is used to cut down the broadcast, as well as if you want to maintain the same kind of subnets in the same environment. Okay, like marketing group, sales group, we want to keep in the same VLAN. So another thing, you can directly assign VLAN to this interface. How? First of all, I will show you how you can check the interfaces. Show IP interface brief. And you can see this switch has all the way from fast Ethernet 0/1 to 0/24 ports. And then it has 2 gigabit Ethernet ports as well. So currently, you can see these all others are down in the down state. Only these 2 are up because our devices are directly connected with this. Another method, you know, that I like most, show interface status. If I hit enter, that is not only showing what interface is connected, but what VLAN those interfaces are on, what is the duplex method they are using, auto negotiate, and speed is also auto negotiable. And then what is the type of this interface exists, like speed 10 or 100. Okay, then if I go down, and then same like gigabit Ethernet as well. Okay, but you know, in show IP interface brief, you can see another information regarding the VLAN as well. VLAN 1, which is unassigned, and this is administratively down. So by the way, you should do like this, you know, VLAN 1 no shut, but it isn't working because this is by default in a no shut condition. It should be up, because otherwise we will not be able to communicate with each other. VLAN 1 is by default, and this should be up. This is a glitch, or this is the issue, or some. That's the reason, these packet tracer and these things we cannot trust anymore. They have some kind of, issues. So I can show VLAN. If I go to show VLAN brief command, you can check the VLAN 1 is currently active. And all the information or all the ports has been assigned to this one. And I think this one is down because I haven't assigned the IP to this one. Once I will assign an IP to this one, it will be up, and I will show you. Okay, so let's very quickly assign this interface VLAN 10. You need to go into that interface, this interface, fast Ethernet 0/1, and then to assign VLAN directly, what you can do, switch port, access, then do question mark. Then from here, you need to take this thing, switch port, access, then what? VLAN, which VLAN? VLAN number 10, and hit enter. So what it is saying? It is saying the access VLAN does not exist, but I'm going to create. So this is a flyby command. Instead of creating VLAN and then assigning to the port, this is just, a very quick command. Just one command. It will not only create the VLAN, but will assign to this port as well. As soon as I hit this command, you can see it is in an orange state, and now it is green because it is negotiating first of all. Okay. So if I go show VLAN brief, and if I hit enter, now you can see the VLAN 10. The VLAN 10 has been assigned to which interface? Fast Ethernet 0/1. So this one has become the part of VLAN 10. Okay. And Kister, how about this one? This is what? This is the part of what?
VLAN 1.
Yes, VLAN 1. Okay, now I want to communicate this thing, this computer with this one. Will I be able to communicate?
No.
Yeah, exactly right. So what I'm gonna do, I will not clear the cam table, but I will try to ping. So as you can see, the ping is being failed. Okay, so now let's go into the CLI and see what is going on here. Because who sent this information? This one. Okay, this is in a question. Basically, it is looking for this computer. But since this is on VLAN 10 and this is on VLAN 1, basically when it will send the request, it will generate the reply back. But in this case, this didn't happen. Why? Because now this is in a separate domain. So only VLAN 10 information is propagated. Previously, both were in a VLAN 1. Once it sent the ARP request, which is broadcast, it sent to the VLAN 1 as well. Since VLAN 1 is in the same broadcast, it will reply back the ARP, reply of the ARP basically. That this is my MAC address. If you want to communicate, please communicate with me. But in this case, what is happening? This is in different broadcast, this is in different broadcast. This broadcast will remain in this VLAN 10 broadcast. That is the reason only this single computer is communicating with each other, with itself. And this switch has a better idea. On fast Ethernet 0/1, the VLAN 10, and this is the MAC address of whoever want to communicate. So at least he has a better understanding about this side. So very quickly now change this one into VLAN 10 as well. We'll make the member of this VLAN 10 interface. So this time I will do the interface fast Ethernet 0/2 switch port access what VLAN 10. So just by doing this one, like I'm assigning VLAN 10 to this fast Ethernet 0/2. So as you can see, it is negotiating, and after some time, the link will be up. So meanwhile, check show MAC address table. We still have one host, that is this one. So now the link is up, and now I will try to communicate again. Sorry. As you can see, the ping is working. It means this switch just flooded the information to this PC, and then this PC replied back. So check show MAC address table. So as now you can clearly see, this time VLAN 10, VLAN 1, there is no any kind of information related to VLAN 1 because we have assigned these two computers VLAN 10. Okay, so they have become the part of one broadcast domain. So let's move one step further. So if you want to remove this cable, what you can do, you can select this one and just click on this one. So this cable has been removed. Why I removed? Because now I'm going to add another switch. So Krista, you can stop me if you have any kind of confusion. You can stop me right away.
Okay. Okay. I'm good.
Okay, then you can select this automatically. Click on this one and click this switch. Then we know that same devices use what kind of cable? Any idea?
Rollover?
Oh, the crossover.
Yeah,
crossover.
Over.
Yeah, for the likewise devices you will use
the rollover.
Yeah. So let's use fast Ethernet 0/2. And what we're gonna do, we will make this one trunk. And why we use trunk link, Crystal?
We use a trunk link to be able to make two VLAN, to allow a communication between two VLAN.
Exactly, not two, multiple, you can say.
Yeah, multiple, yeah.
Yeah, because if you will more specific like two VLANs, so yeah, this will be like confusing, you know. You can say multiple VLANs, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make this trunk, and there is one problem is coming saying netting VLAN mismatch. It means, can you tell me what is the issue right now? If you have any idea.
I know that the native VLAN is to, let me remember again.
By the way, this should be like VLAN 1 is the by default native VLAN, okay? And this thing shouldn't appear, by the way. This is a wrong information. Why this message appears? when we have configure, like, VLAN 1 is
Default.
default. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the native. If we make this one native, it means it is untagged.
Mm-hmm.
It will not have any kind of VLAN information like tagging.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's suppose this switch is configured VLAN, let's say 100 with a native VLAN. Okay. Means here we have configured VLAN 1 as a native VLAN. Here we have configured VLAN 100 as a native VLAN. So when they will want to communicate with the untagged packet, they will give a message to each other that, there is a mismatch. So this is a clear indication that, some configuration has been wrong and either of the device. So what is the solution or the remedy? Either convert this one into VLAN 100 as an untagged or native VLAN, or this one into 1. So they both should be same. We will talk about it, but since that thing came up, I thought I should add this one. Okay. So currently, to see whether this is a trunk link or no, the command is show interface trunk. And if this one is empty, it means no trunk link is configured. Okay. If I want to communicate this computer with this computer, will I be able to?
Now that we have a trunk link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, it shouldn't, because we haven't configured trunk link on that one. And I don't know what is going on. Just let me check the configuration very quickly.
You have to configure on both sides.
Yes, we have to configure. And you can see we haven't configured VLAN 10 here.
Yeah.
Okay. But yes.
So it's for that we have a mismatch VLAN. Because we didn't configure the VLAN 10 on the other side.
But we do not have trunk links. Trunk links, that's why I created this trunk link, so they can communicate with each other. Okay. But this one is like, just like a normal cable that is connected. We haven't, you can see from here the configuration, show interface trunk. There is no any kind of trunk. Just a minute, very quickly. Let me take what is doing a success mode is VLAN 10, native VLAN 1. Don't worry about it. This is just for me, for the verification. You can verify. You can verify from me, like with me, like trunking native mode VLAN is 1. Okay, it means this is same.
Yes.
And if I come here, and I will show you here, show interface path, and this says to switch port, and the native VLAN is 1. Okay, so we haven't configured this one, but it is giving me error. So let's do one thing very quickly. Just let me remove this topology and I will create another one. So let's do it from scratch. Let's put these two switches together. First of all, use automatic cable.
So normally it's the crossover cable, right?
Yep. Straight through when we have, different devices. Crossover when we have same devices. Okay. And the one that you talked about, rollover or console cable, that is different thing. And we have a lab for that as well.
Okay.
Okay, we need to go into CLI. Enable show interface trunk to see the trunk has been created or no, not yet. Okay, so what we can do, you need to go into interface fast Ethernet 0/1, and the command to make trunk is switch port mode trunk and hit enter. Okay, so this is the command. And don't worry about this. We have trunking in the switching lab, and we will do that as well. Show interface trunk is the command. Now you can clearly see. It is saying my native VLAN is 1. I am trunking. Encapsulation that I am using it 802.1q. It is also known as .1q. And we also learned about the another encapsulation, if you remember. That is Cisco proprietary. No idea?
No.
I will give you a hint. L.
Oh.
No problem. But you remember this one? We talked about ISL and .1q.
I remember about that 1Q. ISL, not
ISL, yeah, because that has been obsolete, by the way. But for the sake of interview question, you must remember this one. Only two protocols are being used for the trunking. One is .1q, another one ISL.
Okay.
And ISL basically is used where we have two Cisco related switches. Sorry, not router, switches. Okay. But in what if we have Juniper here and Cisco here? Then you cannot use ISL, you must use .1q.
Okay.
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 So from another this switch, click on this, go to CLI, type show interface trunk to verify from both sides that trunk has been established. Now very quickly bring not router from this end devices, bring these pieces and connect with the switch. And same method, I'm going to use same IP that I was using lastly. And then let's take MAC addresses as well, because those will be helpful. Need to command prompt and ipconfig/all. From here, you can check, see the physical address. This is also, by the way, known as it has multiple names, physical address. This is also known as burn in address. That is also known as MAC address. That is also known as hardware address and physical address. Okay, so you can see that how many different names it is being used for the same thing. So just select this one, right click, copy, and just paste. Select this this icon and just paste that one. So currently, I do remember we tried to ping and that ping was working. So what do you think now? Ping is gonna work or no?
I think it's gonna we have
Work
we did
because both are on
both
same VLAN 1.
yeah.
Okay.
Gonna work.
And even if we will make on VLAN 10, it is gonna work. But what I'm gonna do, I just don't want that trunk link. First of all, I'm gonna remove trunk link because what last time happened, I just want to recheck switch port mode trunk. Okay, so just to remove this as a trunk, what you can do, you can type the same command like switch port mode trunk. And if you want to negate anything in Cisco, you have to type no at that in the first. Okay, and hit. So this command has gone. Now you do show interface trunk. Now you can see this link is negotiating again. So same thing you have to do with this one as well. Go into interface. And to make trunk, we use this command, switch port mode trunk. But not to make this, you have to use no. And that's it. Show interface trunk. We do not have any kind of trunk. So let's very quickly make this a part of VLAN 10. I will use another method. First create VLAN 10 and first verify that VLAN has been created. Show VLAN brief. So we know that VLAN 10 has been created. So make the member to this port. Go to global configuration mode. Go to interface fast Ethernet 0/2. Switch port access VLAN 10. And save the configuration. And this is the command to save the configuration. Either do WR or there is another method or command. Copy running configuration to startup configuration and hit yes. Okay, so these two things are same. This one and copy run to startup. Okay, so to verify whether this has become the part of VLAN 10 or no, I told you we have a command show interface status and hit enter. Now you can clearly see fast Ethernet 0/2. This one has become the part of VLAN 10. Now this time I try to ping.
Yeah, and it will not go.
It shouldn't.
Mm.
Yep, it is working. Now make a member to this one as well. So we will use another method, switch port access VLAN 10. So it will create the VLAN 10 as well as and also assign to this port. Show VLAN brief to verify. As you can see, the fast Ethernet 0/2 has been assigned to this one. And we know that there is no trunk. And show interface fast 0/1 just for my verification. This is a part of VLAN 1. So it means, Crystal, only VLAN 1 related information will go across this cable by default. Okay, but we have made a member, this one VLAN 10, and this one as well, VLAN 10. Although they both are on the same VLAN and the same subnet as well. But from my experience and because I have done so many labs, this shouldn't work because this is VLAN 1. This is not even trunk link. So it shouldn't pass. Let's try, because this is a problem, sometimes with these packet traces. That's the reason I use some high-end uh, simulators like GNS3 or even G. So let's try. That's great. So you remember in last topology, it was working and giving some errors. So that was the same topology. So Crystal, any confusion, please do ask if there is any ambiguity or.
Yes, so why the error that we have with the same topology didn't show up here?
Yeah, because there were some like glitch or some kind of software bugs issues.
Okay, so is it because, how can I say that? So when we want to, let's say I want to redo the lab, will I have to begin with the switch like you did in?
Yep.
Okay, I don't have to kind of have like.
You can follow the same step that I went through. Okay.
Okay.
Because that is the reason I told you sometime, because these are like software. This is a software basically that they have created it. And maybe sometime we want to like the way we want it to work, it doesn't. Okay. So from my experience, I know that was a issue, but you are beginner, you will not have any idea. So you could be confused, but I am here all the time. If you have any kind of confusion, you can ask me on Discord. You can share your like topology with me on Discord. Okay, because you can save this, you can save this packet tracer file, like file save. Okay, and then you can save this and you can send this static.pkt file to me, and I will take a look what is going on. Okay, so this is the same thing that we did. We moved this portion into VLAN 10, this portion into VLAN 10, and then we didn't create this as a trunk. This is not a trunk link. Okay, and we know only VLAN 1 will go across this cable because this is the default VLAN. And how I know this thing? Because if I go show interface fast Ethernet 0/1 switch port, you can see this is the VLAN 1 that will go. And another way you can check as well, show spanning tree, which we haven't covered. Show spanning tree for VLAN 1. So as you can see, the VLAN 1 for the show, you can see this is in a forwarding mode. This fast Ethernet 0/1 interface. Forwarding means this VLAN 1 happily can move across this interface. If we do show spanning VLAN 10, now you can see for the VLAN 10, the interface is fast Ethernet 0/2, which can forward. Means this one. But once I will make this a trunk link, you will see all the default VLANs will go across this trunk link, which I'm going to do. So you need to go into fast Ethernet 0/1 switch port mode trunk. So I'm going to make this link as a trunk. For the verification purpose, show interface trunk. So still the native VLAN 1 is, but you can see from here, allowed VLANs that will go across this fast Ethernet 0/1 are what?
1 and 10.
1 and 10. That is the use of trunk link, because we want to communicate this thing here, which is on the same VLAN. But how we can communicate? The simple link will not work. So that is the reason we create trunk links that will take these all VLAN information through this link. So at this moment, if this switch is also synced with this one as a trunk, we will be able to communicate. But one thing is very important, Crystal. If we have created VLAN 10 here, and let's suppose this one we created, but we removed then VLAN 10 here on this switch, this will not be able to communicate with this one. Okay. They are supposed to be in the same broadcast domain. Okay, so I will click on this switch. I will go show interface trunk, and we can see that now fast Ethernet 0/1, which is this one, is happily accepting VLAN 1 and 10. And if you do even show spanning tree, you can see now these both ports in a forwarding state. And forwarding means it will happily forward the traffic, but not to confuse with the spanning tree. We will discuss this is just you know, a flyby information for you if you want to, if you can digest this one. Okay, so what do you think at this moment? What will be the case if I will ping? Will it work if I'll ping from here all the way to this one?
Oh, I don't remember us doing the configuration.
No, I will give you the hint. Now we have created this as a trunk link. This one and this one both in same VLAN. VLAN 10, and this one is VLAN 10.
Yeah, I think the ping will pass.
Yep, you're right. So before I do, I just want to check the CAM table as well. What is the condition? Show MAC address table. So currently it is having the MAC address, which is 85. It does not have this one. Let me check again the MAC address table for this one. Okay. Show MAC address. Sorry. I pick on. This is how you will be confused. Okay, so no problem. This is the same one. Okay, so it means it hasn't learned so far. So just clear this one. Clear MAC address table. Show MAC address table. And this is learning, by the way, what? It is learning from on which port?
If A01.
This one.
Which one? Yeah.
Yes, this is learning 01. And can you see both are same?
MAC.
And we said that MAC addresses can't be same. It should be unique. Yeah?
Yes.
But there is no any kind of issue. Basically, this MAC address belong to this fast Ethernet 0/1 port.
Oh.
So it means this MAC address is this one here. If I will type here, so it belongs to this fast Ethernet 0/1, and this switch is learning these two VLANs, because I told you we have one VLAN 1 and which one that I have created VLAN 10 as well. So this trunk link, this port is happily accepting these two VLANs from the same port. That is the reason this switch is learning about VLAN 1 and 10 from this MAC address of fast Ethernet 0/1. If you want to confirm, what I can do, I will just close this one, come to this switch, and type show interface fast Ethernet 0/1. So this is a command, and this is, we are gonna use a lot, you know, all the way in the CCNA basically. So you can see this one. If I will just, you know, copy this one, this is better. That is why, you know, it is a very good habit to keep everything documented. Like I put it here, fast Ethernet 0/1 here. Okay. Now I will come here and you can correlate.
Yeah.
This one belongs to this one. Okay. Why? Because until now, this switch doesn't learn about this MAC address or even this MAC address. And every interface on a switch will have a unique MAC address table. If we have fast in 0/2, it will have a different. Fast Ethernet 0/3 will have different. Okay, so let's ping this one and let's see what happens. Now we can see the ping is working. Okay. So it means it has populated the CAM table. So if I go, so this one 5C01, you just ignore these things. What are the new things we have learned about VLAN 10? VLAN 10, which is connected where? One is connected on fast Ethernet 0/1. It means this is, we are learning from this interface. And the other one, which is connected on fast Ethernet 0/2, which is this one. And you can correlate this MAC with this one. Getting any idea? I know this is a little bit, you know, confusing at the beginning, you know, but you know, I am putting so much emphasis on the basics. If you will learn the basics, you can move forward and you will have a better and clear understanding about how the routing protocol works, how the NAT works, how the PAT works, how other technologies works. Because these basic things, if you are getting familiar, then the rest of the part will be easy for you. But don't worry, you know, this is the best part of this session. This is being recorded, so you can take this recording, just repeat this one, what I'm doing. Okay. Do it even with your own method.
Okay, I just have a question.
Yeah.
You see the first line of the MAC address table, the interface FA01, where we learn the MAC address of the switch.
Yes.
Is it the interface 01 of the switch one?
No. Very good question. I know you will be confused here. Okay, so basically, that's why I told you ignore these two things, because these are the MAC addresses of this fast Ethernet. Okay, but this switch is saying that I learned about this computer MAC address also on the same port.
Okay, all right.
Okay, why? Because when this computer wants to communicate with this computer, how this switch will know where do I need to send this information to?
No, with the CAM, right?
No, on this interface, fast Ethernet 0/1, with help of this, yes, with this MAC address table, MAC address, this one. Not this one, sorry.
24.
This, yep, this one. Because this, if you correlate with this one, they are same. Okay. And I am currently on this switch. And And this is the information that I'm learning.
Okay.
Okay, you can further filter this one, like show MAC address table that is related to, just a minute, dynamic, but no, I think it doesn't have interface. No, usually you can filter it out with a VLAN like 10. Okay, it will show only that is learned on this interface, from this interface having VLAN 10. Okay, so you can further filter this out. But you know, the whole idea is just you must understand what is happening here. Show MAC address table. Okay, so you have to tell me now. If I do show MAC address table on this switch, what it will be learning? MAC addresses.
You mean what are the MAC address you have right now in his table?
In this table, yeah, for this switch.
If we didn't do the ping, it will only have the MAC address of the other switch.
Okay. Yes, you are right. If we have ping, because in case we have already ping.
Okay, we're gonna have the MAC address of the PC1 too.
PC1 and this interface.
Yes.
And this one. Yes, you are right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it is learning this about this interface, the MAC address, and these two things, fast Ethernet 0/2 that is locally connected with this MAC address. Okay. And then it is also learning from the same interface about this MAC address. Okay. Okay, so I think this is enough for this lab. So I have discussed here about the ARP. I have mentioned, and you know what ARP does?
The reverse, I mean, it does the IP in, how do we say that? It converts the IP in a MAC address.
Exactly. So what happens basically? We have two computers. They are connected somehow with something. Okay. And this has some IP like .192.168.1.1, and this one has .2. And we know, Crystal, these IPs are the essential. If we want to communicate, the first thing that we need is what? IP. And what is the second thing that we need to communicate if we want to between these two computers?
MAC.
MAC, yes. So when, oh, sorry. I just want to remove some of the part, not all. So what happens when this computer boots up? Okay, it has IP, but it does not know about the MAC address of this one, but it has a very good idea about this .2 address. Of course, if it wants to communicate this computer, it should have the idea about the IP of this computer. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Once it will ping this computer, it is only pinging the IP, but it does not have any information about the MAC address of this computer. Okay, it does not have it. That is the reason our protocol is being used. It will send a kind of broadcast. Basically, what it will be saying. No, what I'm doing. Just a minute. So, what is the process will happen? Very quickly, I will show source IP, destination IP. Then it will have source MAC, destination MAC. Currently, Crystal, they didn't ping each other. Okay. You have to tell me what will be the source IP.
The source IP is .1.
Yes. What is the destination IP?
.2.
Yes. What is the source MAC?
We're gonna do ipconfig and have it.
Yes, and whatever the MAC address of. Let's say this is have A for this one. Okay, this is the MAC address of this one. What is the destination MAC?
Okay. From my understanding, they're
Yeah.
gonna have the MAC from the switch, the CAM.
We don't have switch here.
Yeah, so
Okay.
is the app on the machine?
No, this is the main core concept of ARP. When they don't know about each other MAC address, what should be the MAC? Just give me an idea. If this computer does not have any idea about this MAC, what it's gonna do with this MAC?
It's gonna use a protocol who convert the IP in MAC.
No, it will have a kind of broadcast, all Fs.
Okay. I didn't have that use case where we don't have the switch, so I kind of
even no. Even in the case of switch.
Yes.
No problem. Just put the switch here.
Because I know that with the switch, it's gonna have this broadcast, and from the switch.
Okay, that's fine. But you just don't have to cram these things. Okay? You have to get the idea, because the concept is same, whether if you are using the switch in between or no, if those are directly connected, the mechanism is going to be the same.
Okay.
Because this computer does not have where to send. So what it will do, it will send this destination MAC, and when this switch will receive this destination as this, it will know that this is going to be do what? Flood. Okay. After flooding, this computer will get hit with this information. It will check the source IP. It will check the destination IP, and he will know that this computer is looking for me because this is the same destination IP. Isn't it? Okay. So it will know that source MAC is already given. So it is looking for destination MAC. So what this computer will do? It will replace the destination MAC with its own MAC address. Let's say the B. Now the reply will go back to this computer. Now tell me, next time this computer wants to ping this one, what will be the source IP, destination IP, source MAC, and destination MAC?
Source IP .1, destination IP .2, source MAC AAA, and destination MAC BBB.
Exactly, because now it has this information in its cache. Okay, so this is the fundamental of ARP.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got the idea? You're welcome. Okay, so we have another thing, Proxy Arp. Have any idea? I talked about this Proxy Arp, where we use this Proxy Arp.
We use the Proxy Arp when we try to connect to the internet?
No.
Oh my.
When we have the scenario like this. And let's even bring the switches as well. And Crystal, we know that switches forward the broadcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about the router?
No.
No. they will cut down the broadcast. Whatever the information is here will stay here. Whatever the information is here, stay here. So this is the thing. This is the issue. But what if this computer wants to communicate with this one? Now this time we have the router in between. Okay. So router will tell this computer, if you want to communicate this computer, you have to use me as your intermediary device. This is the thing that this comes here like a proxy arp. Okay, then it will have kind of routing table. So this router will know that if this computer is looking for this computer, on my which interface, exit interface, this computer is connected with. Okay, so it is just like, you know, giving and taking, give and take, doing kind of things. Okay, it will take this one and give it to this one. It will take from here and give it to this one. This is known as the proxy arp. And I will show you in a demo as well how it works. And then, you know, this thing is known as inverse arp. What do you suggest or guess what it should be? Like ARP is doing resolution of Mac.
Resolution. And
of Mac. Yeah. And what it will be doing?
Inverse ARP will do the resolution of IP.
Exactly. Of IP. This thing has been obsolete, but you know, still it is being asked in interview questions and in Cisco, you know, everywhere they talk about the inverse ARP because this is something like very unique thing. I wish, you know, when we'll hit routing, if the time permitted, I will do a lab on frame relay.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Frame relay is like a hub and spoke topology. It is like this, you know, the routers are connected like in this fashion. They have basically, they communicate with one thing that is like correlate with the MAC address, but is known as DLCI, DLC. Okay. By the way, frame relay has been obsolete. It is no more in even CCNA topic as well. But still it is, you know, at networking level, this is being taught because this is a very, you know, if very basics, if you want to go further into like detailed study, this will be very helpful. Okay. So every interface will have its own DLC. Just think it like MAC address. Okay. So this computer, or think it like a computer. This is computer 1. This is computer 2. This computer wants to communicate with this computer. They have IP. They have the DLC information about each other, but they don't know about the IP. Okay. So with the help of DLC, they are going to resolve IP address of this computer. That thing is known as inverse ARP. It is just like the opposite of ARP. Okay, so these things we have done simple connection with the switch. I showed you one switch, then multiple switch, and then I will show you router as well, just for your good understanding. So just clear this one. And let's very quickly create one topology, pick one router. And one computer. And let's add one switch as well. And connect these things quickly. Okay, I'm going to give IP to this one. So, 192.168.1.1. And switch will not have any kind of configuration because we know that we have the router now. We want to communicate with the router. But why we use this router, I will show you what is the reason. So I will go into the router. This is the same system configuration dialog I talked about, and I will talk about in detail later on. So this is how you are going to connect the CLI of this router, and the concept is same. Enable, go to configuration terminal mode, and then I have to assign the IP to this interface. How you can do, you need to go into this interface, fast Ethernet 0/0, and give IP address from the same subnet range, 192.168.1.2, and the subnet mask as well. Hit enter and do no shut, because as you can see, for the switch, automatically they negotiate. Maybe this is also negotiating, but the switches, you have to manually no shut these things. So hit no shut, you can see it is up. Another one important command I'm going to introduce here, the debugging command. Debug. Usually in switches or the routers, I talked about the syslog as well. Syslog are the one that automatically appears on your console, but the debugs are like if we want to debug something. For example, if I want to ping this router and I want to see what is going on with that Icmp. So I can enable debugging on this console, on this router. So once this computer will do a ping, will generate a ping, this debugging log will appear here a lot in detail. So how to enable debugging? You need to type debug question mark, what you want to debug. I want to debug like IP, debug IP. And then we have this Icmp, and we know that what Icmp has to do with. It has to do with the ping, echo, reply, and echo request. When we ping, you remember that ping generate 5 echo replies and 5 echo request, replies and requests. So those have things are, you can correlate with the Icmp. So I just want to enable this debugging related to the Icmp and hit enter. So as you can see, it is mentioned that Icmp packet debugging is on.
Mhm.
To verify this one, you can do show debug and enter. Just to verify that what kind of debugging is on currently. So Icmp packet debugging is on. Now, you remember that if I try to ping, first of all, myself, my ping 192.168.1.1, I can generate a ping. And if I go to the, if I go to the router, I don't know what is going on. You can see nothing is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there is no any kind of information is going on here. Why? Because router does not accept any kind of broadcast. Okay, although this is in the same domain, like 192.168.1.1 and just a minute, show IP interface brief. You can see I have given the IP to this interface. Okay. Usually, whatever this domain, this subnet is, if you will ping, switches will get a notification because switches accept the broadcast. But at this moment, nothing is going on here. But if I try to ping this router 192.168.1.2 and hit enter.
Okay.
Okay. Now it received because I am directly asking this router that you are there. So it sent, because I was debugging, it gave me information about the this Icmp debugging. Like, what is it saying? The source is coming from where?
1.2 from the router?
No, but this is the reply.
Yeah.
Okay, so not to confuse. Okay, so you have to check these debuggings in detail. It is saying I'm sending back reply to this computer. So the source should be this one. And where I'm heading?
The PC0.
Yes, 1.1. Okay, so this is the benefit of debugging. I will keep this debugging on because I want to show you something, another very good part, and you will have a very good understanding then. Now I will try to ping some random IP 192.168.100.100. Do you think it is gonna ping anything?
I mean, the ping gonna fail? Is that the...
Yes, yes. If I will do, you can see 100.100 and pinging is being failed. Why? Because I haven't assigned this into any of the device. Okay. But in case of switch, if I will do the same thing, this switch will have this information, but it will then delete this information after some time because it will not receive the reply, or this switch will not have idea who this 192.168.100 is. So it will keep this information into my CAM table and then it will flush it out. But as you can see, router is still like freezing. There is no any kind of thing or broadcast generated. But the same thing I'm going to do with what? The default gateway. This time I'm going to put default gateway. And why we put default gateway, Crystal?
We put default gateway to be able to communicate with another network.
Another network. Very nice. So the default gateway is what?
One is the address of the router.
Which is 1.2. Okay. So let's try the same thing. The same IP. Now you can see what is happening. Why it generated this debugging? Why it appeared? Any idea?
Because you reached the router.
Why?
Because it's another network. You try to connect.
Another network, yes. And I mentioned on this IP configuration, first of all, check what I'm trying to ping. If this this host, what I'm trying to ping, like this host 100.100 on the same subnet, is it?
No.
No. Then your last ditch effort is this default gateway. You need to go to that default gateway. And that is the reason it is going directly to this router and it is hitting, because this switch does not have any information. Even this computer does not have any information about this 100.100 IP. So it blindly sent to the router. And you can see what router is saying currently. Router is saying host is unreachable. This destination basically is unreachable because I have no idea who 192.168.100.100 is you are trying to reach. And this is the same thing. This is the same thing. For example, if we have internet connectivity here, if I try to go to jobskillshare.org, first it will try to resolve the DNS. It will check the IP of JobSkillShare website. Let's say the IP is like 167.100.66.5, which is basically the public IP. It will do AND with its own IP address, and it will try to match with its own IP, whether it works or not. I mean, both are same or no. When it is not same, where it will be sent to default gateway to this one. And if this default gateway is connected with the ISP, and the default gateway is saying whatever the request is coming, I'm sending to what? To the default route, which is 0000, which we're gonna learn in a future videos. You have to send to this, and this is sending where? To ISP. So this is how the website will be resolved and will be sent back to this computer. Any confusion, any questions?
I only have one question. Can we use debug with the switch, or is only
yes,
on...
we can use.
Okay.
We can use. Just the same, for example, enable, do debug, but we do not have so much inside it. Okay. We have debug IP, ICMP. If I enable this one, let's try, but I'm sure it will not work. If I try to, let's try maybe work, or for the switch, still it didn't work. Okay. Because it is sending broadcast, it is receiving. In those switches, it should work. It will show you detail about the ICMP as well. You know, Christopher, when we'll, I'm sure that some of the labs we will do on the GNS3 as well.
Okay.
Okay. So these are very basics. GNS3 is a bit advanced. GNS3 is using a real iOS devices, iOS operating system. That is the reason it is giving like 100% accuracy kind of. Okay, so there are so many things that like hidden or not being used in. But if you want, we can use like DSCP, debug DSCP, debug IP DSCP, snooping packet or something like that. So when we will do some kind of snooping, and if you have gone through my this last two videos where I talked about the cybersecurity attacks, okay, DSCP snooping related attacks, DSCP starvation attack. So this is, we can take a look on this debugging. Have you gone through those videos or not? Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so still you are a long way. Okay, no problem. Slowly, steadily wins the race. Okay, so let's move further because we have spent a lot of time. Okay, this is pretty much, you know, simple. We have to do a provisioning. The case study is, you are company IT administrator, a newly device arrived at your office. You need to access the device for the first time and make some configuration for the provisioning. What you can do, like including banners, passwords, and message of the day. So Crystal, from your experience, what you suggest, what we're gonna do for the provisioning for the first time? How are we gonna connect switch with, let's say we have a switch, we have a computer, What we gonna use?
Which type of cable we're gonna
Cable,
use?
what? Yes, what kind of cable we're gonna use?
The regular
Because
cable.
yeah,
Is it SFP?
no,
The
no.
Cat 6?
Cat 6 we will use, okay, but no, no, no,
No.
no. Okay, I will give you a hint. We have straight through cable.
Oh, okay, this type. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the type of cable.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
So, like, it is the different. It's not the same device. We're gonna use the straight through cable.
No, we have straight through cable. We have crossover cable. And we have third thing, if you remember, we have console cable.
Okay. Wait, maybe I don't understand the question.
Okay,
We
no
want to
problem.
connect to the switch?
Actually, we want to do the provisioning. You have any idea what provisioning is?
Provisioning is when we try to send some, I mean, when, like, at my job, when we try to imaging a machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the provisioning, basically the technical term that is being used in our networking or in day-to-day environment. Basically, what we have to do when we somebody brought a new device in my office and they asked me to configure this device. Why? I will put IP address on that. I will put some password on that for to access this device later on. Okay, so these things are called provisioning. The first time, when you are going to access this device to configure some stuff on it.
Okay.
So that is the thing. So from our previous the study, we remember that when we have to configure this switch for the first time.
Yeah, it has to be physical. We cannot do it remotely, right? Is that
Yes, it is physical. And what kind of cable we're gonna use?
console? Now I
Console
yeah,
cable.
now I
Yes,
understand.
that is the thing. So this is the whole purpose of this first
Okay.
point, and we are going to do these things. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go very quickly.
Okay, sorry, I didn't understand the questions on the first
No
time.
issues.
I was thinking of the computer, not of
Yeah,
about
no
switch.
problem. Sorry about that if you didn't get what I was trying to say.
It's okay.
Okay, so this was the topology, and you remember how we are accessing this console, the CLI, just directly clicking this one, yeah? But do you think in your production environment, you will have this facility? Like you will click directly this switch and no, not at all. So what are you gonna do? This is going to be your production environment scenario. You have a switch in the rack. Then you have a PC. Okay. Now what you will do? You will take a console cable.
Okay.
Okay. You will take a console cable and then you will click you on the back of your switch. There will be a port mentioning the console port. The color of this port will be like a baby blue color. Baby blue color. Okay.
Yes.
So we will grab the console, the console cable.
I think it's selected. Yeah.
Yeah, we will select and it is mentioned console. Click on this one. This switch is connected with that console port right now. And then you will connect, either you have a laptop or your PC. If that cable is long enough, then you will connect, and then that will have RS232 port. Okay. And if very quickly, if I can show you RS232 port computer. It will be look like this one. Okay, and this is the cable that we'll be using, the rollover cable, rollover or console cable, Cisco. This one. This thing will be connected in where? In the switch.
On the switch, yeah.
Yep. And this thing will go into the
computer.
Yes. So this is how you will make the connectivity. Okay. Then on a computer, basically you will have multiple softwares to access this switch. Like, for example, if I give you example here, if you go to the desktop, this is known as terminal. Okay, but we have other softwares as well, like Putty. We have Terraterm.
Those are the one I know.
You know about Terraterm?
Yes.
That's great. Then we have Secure CRT.
Oh, that's new for me.
And there we have multiple like Mobex term as well, but these are the most famous ones.
Okay.
And this terminal is by default in usually in comes in computers. Okay.
Okay.
So what you need to do? You need to do nothing but just click on this terminal, and these will be the default settings. You have to keep it in mind. Like bits per second rate 9600, data bits rate is 8, parity is none, stop bits 1, and flow control is none. Okay, you don't have to worry about this, what this thing is, but just keep it in mind. This should be the same, basically the configuration setting to access the any router or switch. After that, just click on OK, and you can see we are in that
switch.
Yes, switch. Enable, show IP interface brief, show VLAN brief, and we can do so many things. So this is how you're going to access the console. Okay.
Okay.
Another very important thing, since we are here, this is also known as OOB, out of band management.
Yeah.
Why? Because it does not use any kind of IP addresses or to access this, you know. If we use IP, it means it is using any kind of data inside that cable. It means we are utilizing some kind of bandwidth. But usually these console ports, they don't have any, like these are dump cables. No bandwidth is going on inside it. So they don't have any bandwidths. Okay. So these cables are very good if you are using in your production environment, because the other cables like straight through cables or crossover cables, they are in band. Data is being sent forward or moving across these cables. So if you are accessing your this switch from some far switch or place using Ethernet cable, it means you are using in-band management. But this console cable is known as out of band.
I have a question. I would like to know, I mean, it's a question that came from my experience, my understanding of this stuff. I would like to know if an access point, I mean, is there a difference between an access point and a switch?
Yes, access point is basically, this is you're talking about access point?
Yes.
This is your wireless routers, wireless devices with antenna on top of that.
So it's not a switch, it's different.
They're also known as lightweight access point as well. They are just, you know, to access your wireless, you know, capable devices. And these are access layer switches.
Whoa.
Okay. This is access point.
Okay.
This is access layer. Because multiple users will be accessing this switch directly, since these computers have direct access to this switch. That is the reason these are known as access layer switches.
Okay.
Okay, so these two things are different. And also, you haven't covered wireless access, wireless.
I did, but I kind of confused, you know, because we can, for having a connection on a PC, we can connect a PC to the switch. For having connection, you can connect your laptop to your access point. So I thought that maybe we can consider the switch and the access point.
No. Access point.
Different.
Access point is totally different story. If you will just type here access point, access point, you will see these things.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So so what is the task? Task is to banners and passwords and message of the day. So these things are like, you know, very minor things. For example, you can see when I access this console, it didn't ask for any kind of password. Yeah.
Yes, it did.
When I access this switch, it didn't ask about any password. But this is lack of security, by the way. So what you can do. So Crystal, these command, you know, I know these will be in a first sight, it will be like difficult, but you know, once you are used to with these things, once you are like, for example, daily you are doing like 2 or 3 labs related to the password or console, then you will have very good idea and understanding about these things, these commands. Okay, you can write down these commands and then you just can correlate what I'm doing, that you can move along. Okay, so to provide the password to this switch, what you can do into the configure terminal mode, then line console 0.
Okay.
This is how you are going to access the console of this switch. Then question mark, and we have so many commands here. But what we are looking for kind of things that has to do with like password or something. Okay.
Password. I see password.
Yes, here. So you can mention password here. Password, let's say, keep it simple. Cisco.
Okay.
Another thing, very important, you have to do it login. Hit enter. Okay. These two things are mandatory. Okay. And you can notice that we are not in a global configuration mode, but line configuration mode. We are into this mode right now. We are inside the console right now. Under console, we set the password and we set that login. Enable password checking. Okay. Now save this one and exit this out. And now hit enter. And now this time it is asking for the password. So hit Cisco, enable, and we are in the iOS console. Okay, it didn't mention any kind of banner here. Usually we, as a network administrator, put a banner on top of that to show somebody, for example, you are unauthorized to access this switch or router, but you are trying to access. So you must have some kind of caution at the top. So what you can do, banner. Okay. Then this is MOTD, which is message of the day. There is one thing, login banner as well, and I will show you on a router as well. So what you can do, banner MOTD, then it is saying line C banner text C, where C is a delimiting character. So this is the character we have to put. You can put any character, like let's say ampersand sign, and hit enter. Now you have to mention what message you want to type here. Like this is message of the day banner. Like you can design, and then you have to hit the same ampersand sign to basically show this command that, I want to end this command. Just put the same ampersand sign and hit enter. So with the ampersand, it started this command, and with ampersand, it ended this command. Okay, so we have created this banner, by the way. Save this one, copy running configuration to startup, and hit enter. Now I exit and hit enter. Now you can see this time there is a banner. This banner could also be, for example, I will do banner message of the day. No banner message of the day. With the help of no banner, it will be removed. Okay. And I want to create a banner message of the day. Let's this time use dollar symbol to start this banner, and I can pass on the information, the person who is coming next to me. For example, hello admin, or the junior admin, kindly reset the password. And with dollar sign, I'm going to end this command. Okay, so let's say that junior admin access the console and hit enter. As soon as he will hit the enter, he will get this hello junior admin, kindly reset the password. Okay, so this is kind of information as well if you want to pass on to someone who is coming after you. Okay.
Okay.
After that, we have covered the banners, password, and message of the day. Any confusion?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, then we have gone through this one. Let's go to the next one. Console cable either has been damaged.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Cameron, I have a question. For the password, we don't have to enter some username. Does we have to?
No problem. That will come. That will come next.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, no problem. So the next point is console cable either has been damaged or lost. So without using console cable, you have to access the device to configure VLAN 100. For example, your network administrator or your senior network admin asks you to create VLAN 100 on that switch, and you don't have console cable. What you will do? So this is I'm gonna do here.
Okay.
So, but the whole idea of using console is a provisioning. Okay. So I'm going to do provisioning, configure terminal. I want to give one IP address assigned to this device, so I can access if I don't have a console cable.
Okay.
So for that, I talked about in Network Pro as well. We have VLAN 1 is by default. And this is the interface where you are going to assign the IP if you want to access this device. Okay.
Okay.
So very quickly, first check show VLAN brief. We have VLAN 1 exists. Show IP interface brief. We can see VLAN 1 is there, but it is unassigned, administratively down. So we have to assign the IP to this VLAN 1. How you can do? Go to configure mode, interface VLAN 1. Now you will assign the IP address 192.168.1.1 question mark. It is saying the subnet mask. The subnet mask, let's make it 255.0 and no shut this one. As you can see, the state is now up. For the verification purpose, Control Z, you can go back, show IP interface brief. Now you can see it is up, but still it is down. And if I want to see what is down, just go on top. You can see the protocol is down. Means status physically it is up. Physically VLAN 1 is up, but the protocol is down. Why? Because I haven't connect any kind of computer here. When this VLAN 1 on this port is up, this thing will be up. Okay.
Okay.
So I have assigned the IP. Now I want to save this configuration. Copy running to startup configuration and hit enter. For verification purpose, you can check show IP interface brief. You can see VLAN 1 IP is assigned. This one is up and this one is down. So just close this one, and this time I'm going to remove this cable because I don't want this one. Now I want to access this how? With what cable? Crystal? What kind of cable will be connected this time if I don't have cross-level cable?
If you don't have console cable,
Yeah.
you're going to use the... Oh my God. I have
These are different devices. These are different. So what kind of cable is going to use?
Straight through
cable. Very right. So you will connect here fast Ethernet 0/1.
Okay.
And this one with fast Ethernet 0. Okay.
Yes.
Now I want to see show IP interface brief again. Last time this thing was down. You remember?
Yes.
Now it is up. Now it is up. And why it is up?
Because we connect a computer
with that one. Or this fast Ethernet 0/1 is by default using what? VLAN 1 for the communication. So that is the reason this protocol is up and this protocol is up. Okay, but I forgot to do one thing during provisioning. I assigned the console access. You remember?
Okay.
How? I will show you. If you do show running configuration, it will show your running configuration, what we have already saved in this startup, in this iOS, it will show. Like you can go here, you can see. So to access using console, you have to configure console. But if you want to access this using straight through cable, you have to use what? Line VTVice. Line VTVice. If you want to access via Telnet or SSH. Got the idea?
Yeah.
If you want to access using console cable, then you will configure password on console.
Okay.
But if I want to access through Telnet, I have to enable Telnet, this line VTY access on this switch. I will give you a demo as well.
Okay.
So currently I haven't configured this one, and I will try to ping first of all. I will try to ping what? That VLAN 192.168.1 dot. Sorry, that is a thing, you know, I'm missing. I didn't even take my own advice. IP config. And I haven't assigned IP to this one as well. So very quickly assign IP 192.168.1.1. Sorry, 192.168. I'm actually moving faster than my keyboard. 1.1.
So we can have the same IP for the VLAN and the computer, because the VLAN you assigned IP 1.1. Okay.
But we cannot have same IP. What IP I assigned? 1.1, yeah? For switch. So for this, I will assign 1.100. Excuse me.
Okay. So the IP of the VLAN is the IP of the switch?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, you're right. That is the reason I'm going to document here. So you will have a better idea what I have assigned here. You can see here, when I assigned that IP, it said duplicate address.
Yeah.
This is a very good catch.
Wow.
So this one is 1.1. For VLAN 1. Okay, VLAN 1 interface. And why we give VLAN 1 this IP? So we can access from our computer this thing, this switch. Okay. So I need to go into this command prompt. I will do ping 192.168.1.1. Now you can see I can ping this thing. Okay, so it means I have a reachability to this thing. It means I can access this device. But I told you one thing I missed, which is a line VTY. If so from here, packet tracer, how you can access the telnet. This thing when we have console cable.
Okay.
And this thing when we want to do a telnet or a SSH.
Okay.
Okay. So click on this one. We are not doing telneting. We are not doing SSHing right now. We are doing telnet. So click on telnet. And what is the IP of that thing? 192.168.1.1. And now click on the connect. The current session has closed. Do you want to reestablish a? It is saying I cannot connect. I'm sorry. I don't have any kind of reachability.
Okay.
Okay. I will try to do yes so many times it will not work.
Okay.
So as a real network administrator, Crystal, what you need to do right now?
We need to configure the line VTY.
How?
We have to go in the switch.
How?
With packet tracer?
No, if you are working in your physical devices, then.
If I'm working on the physical devices, we're going to use the terminal, the application you were talking about.
With the help of what? What kind of cable?
You say what kind of
cable?
application? PuTTY?
No, the cable. What kind of cable
Oh,
we're
the
gonna use?
cable we're gonna use. That's a good question. We're gonna use a straight through cable?
No, we're gonna use console cable because we are failing our access using straight through cable because we are trying to telnetting this device. Okay, and we are failing because I forgot in a provisioning, I
Yeah.
forgot to put line VTY access.
Okay. So
I
we
didn't.
need that. Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
I understand. Yeah.
so now this is a overhead, this is like a blunder I made. That is the reason provisioning is so important before you save any configuration to this device and you forget about the console cable. That is the reason, now as a real network administrator, what are you going to do? You will select this console cable, you will connect the console cable, then you will connect to the RS232 port. You will go again to this one, terminal, access this device, go into configure mode, line, VTY. I guess I'm gonna stop after 3 labs this because this you have to practice and then I will move forward. Okay, then line VTY, these are the things when you are accessing your device using what? Telnet
or SSH.
Or SSH. Okay, so this is VTY. So VTY is giving me currently how many access? All the way from 0 to 15. It means if I have 15 computers here connected, or even from one device, I can concurrently access 15 lines to the same device. Okay, because you could have like multiple network administrator, let's say 3 administrator. So you can give 3 lines access to this of this switch. So all 3 administrator can access this simultaneously, this switch. So line VTY 0, usually we do it until 4. I don't want to give access from 5 till all the way to 15. Okay, I'm just giving only 0 to 4 means total 5 sessions. So I will go line VTY 04. Okay, the same thing will do. Password Cisco and login. Okay, and save the configuration. Now I want to let's suppose I will remove this cable again, the console cable.
Okay.
I'm again back connected with the straight through cable. Lastly, I was not able to access this device. From where? From my Telnet and SSH. So this I told you, by default, Telnet is enabled. Telnet is by default. SSH, you have to configure manually on this switch if you want to use this SSH. And you know what is the difference between Telnet and SSH?
Yes. With Telnet, the information are clear. With SSH.
Exactly. Whatever the communication will go across the cable, if anybody is sniffing the cable, he will get this passwords like Cisco in a clear text.
Yeah.
But using SSH, because SSH use kind of crypto. Okay, and the crypto means whatever this thing is, it will be a gibberish. X, L, 1, 2, 3, some. Okay, even if I try to sniff this thing, I will try to use the same thing. It will not be able to access this device. So I'm going to use Telnet 192.168.1.1 and click on
connect.
Sorry, connect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So this time I am doing it. It is mentioned SSH client, but it is not. It is basically the telnet.
Okay.
Okay. So password I put Cisco. Now I need to go enable mode, but the problem here is if I will try to hit, it is saying the password is not set.
It's not set.
Yeah, this is not the password, by the way, for accessing this switch. I can access the switch. You can see I'm in the switch,
Oh yeah.
but this is password for enable mode. How can I go further into it if I don't have the password? Okay, so this is another blunder I made. I should have this thing during the provisioning. I should have this enable mode password as well.
Set.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is why, you know, it is why I'm giving you these hints one by one, because the provisioning is the most important and crucial part. Let's suppose you configured one device and then you shipped that device some another country saying that I have configured everything properly.
Yeah.
But you forget like enable secret.
Oh my.
You are sitting in USA.
Yep.
The router has reached in Australia.
Oh Lord.
Now you are trying to access and you miss some part. Okay. So that is the reason these things, because you are still new, that's why you have some kind of confusion. But once you will go through these things like I did, I have now clear understanding what steps and what things I need to do at the provisioning steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is not like a rocket science. This is very simple commands what I have gone through. This is being recorded, so you can, you know, just reverse. You can go back and just, you know, sync with me what I'm doing. Okay, so this time I'm not going to use console cable, so I will go directly into this switch. I will go into configure mode and enable. Either you can use password or you can use secret. Both are same thing, but this is like encrypted and this one is simple password, simple clear text password. Okay, so enable, first I will do enable password. And password, let's say, let's make it Cisco as well, because let's make it Cisco 123. Okay.
Okay.
And save the configuration. Copy, running to startup configuration. Okay. Now I will close this one. I will go to this computer. And I will try to again access using SSH, not Telnet, sorry. IP is 192.168.1.1 and connect. The first password for accessing this the switch Telnet was what? You
Cisco.
remember?
Yes.
Cisco. Cisco. Okay, I'm gonna apply Cisco. Okay, now I need to go into enable mode. Now I hit enter. What was the password?
Cisco 123.
Cisco 123, and I am in. Show IP interface brief, show running. You can see all the running configuration that we made, like console, line VTY, we put, you know, remember password, everything. We put the message of the day. We put the VLAN information. Okay. So one thing, what if somebody is looking over your shoulder? He clearly can see the password. Okay. So I think this is going to be our, yeah, the next step. This thing. So it is saying the password configured on your switches routers are basically clear text password. Company want you to provide a solution to you to make those passwords unreadable. Means we will use the telnet. We are not using SSH, by the way. We are using telnet, and we want to make these passwords unreadable. How?
Hmm.
We need to go into that. There is only one command that will serve this purpose.
Is it
To verify, yeah. Sorry, you want to ask something?
Oh no, I was thinking of something for the solution.
What you were thinking? No problem. Share.
Enable secret.
Exactly, you are very right. We can do that one, but why we have those two things here? We have enable password and we have enable secret as well. What do you think? Why still we have this thing? When we have very good thing here, then why are we still keeping this thing? Any guess?
Maybe they are sure of the environment. They are not afraid if somebody see the text.
No, actually, this enable password is
Mm.
the old method. Okay, and the chances are maybe you are using some old device.
Oh, okay.
And you want to paste this information into that old device to sync with this. For example, this is the one you have this configuration, but you want to replicate almost the same information to this switch. And this switch does not support secret.
Okay.
This is backward compatible. That is the whole idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how we can do that one? As you can see, we have clear password here.
Mm-hmm.
This one. We want to hide this one. The command is service password encryption. Hit enter. Save the configuration by typing WR and do show running. Now you can see what happened.
Mm.
At least it is like, still it is readable, but you have no idea what the password was basically.
Mm.
It changed Cisco into 123 into to this gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
And this is known as level 7 password. Level 7 password. And I will show you another thing. You can copy this password. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go into website level 7 password decrypt. You need to go into the website. Let's say this one.
Mm.
My internet is running very slow. Just go on Notepad.
So we can decrypt the password.
Exactly. So encrypted password you need to paste here and do a submit. Sorry.
Yes, I saw that down there.
Yeah, you can see Cisco 123. So that is the reason, this thing has now obsoleting or has been obsolete, and we have enabled secret. Okay, so this is still hackable, but at least this is one step security. At least somebody even like taking a look, he will not able, or he or she will not be able to guess it. Okay.
Yes.
So our third task also has been achieved. Any confusions? Any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm so happy for this case study. We really go through the
Yeah, one by one and piece by piece, basically.
piece by piece, and those are actual problems that we have to resolve in a company. So I love that.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
I showed you the way, I went through. Why? Because we face so many issues. Like, I did provisioning. Like I forgot to enable line VTY
Mm-hmm.
to access from Telnet. And then I have to again use console cable. I went inside, I did some provisioning, I did some configuration, I removed the console cable. Why, Crystal? Because console cable is like, your 1 arm length short cable. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is very short cable. You just can plug it into your laptop directly, and you just very quickly you can do configuration. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
do you think that all the time you're doing the same thing?
No.
No, you must have these things configured so you can
Mm-hmm.
access from your computer directly these things like
Mm-hmm.
switches, or because you could have like 7 floors. On every floor you have two switches or routers. Do you think you will go on every floor with a console cable and plug into that cable and you will do? No.
No.
Okay, so that is the reason. It will avoid overhead. If we have done provision correctly, then we can telnet those devices remotely. Even from home you can access. Okay.
Okay.
I guess I will do this password lost. Then I have migrating to SSH multiple level switching and discovering. I will keep it for the next session because Crystal, your this next module is also on the same things. Okay, so this is like you are learning in advance.
Okay.
If you want to continue, I can continue, no problem. It's up to you totally.
Okay.
I don't want to overburden. What do you suggest?
Oh, I'm good. I'm following you. I'm so
Okay,
I
that's good.
love those demo time. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's great. Okay, so what in case if you have lost the password?
And you cannot access the switch.
Switch, you cannot access through console even
Oh.
if you will, for example, the same scenario we have.
You can access the switch, but if it is encrypt.
Even if it is encrypted or whatever, you forgot the password completely.
Yeah.
Like enable secret, I'm gonna put something gibberish here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've saved that configuration. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to access sorry, through telnet.
Mm-hmm.
We have 192.168.1.1 and click connect. You remember what was the password? Cisco, yeah?
Oh
No,
yeah.
Cisco you remember.
Yeah.
But enable,
Oh
what
yeah.
was the password? Cisco
No.
123. Cisco 123. Let's try.
Okay.
No, it is working.
Yeah.
Now I forgot what happened to that one. Okay. So this is where we are going to use these techniques. So these are the very important thing. We have running configuration. Then we have startup configuration as well. Okay.
Okay.
In running configuration, when you are doing everything, like you assign IP address assigned, you assign like VLAN, you created a VLAN, something like that. Everything will be saved on running configuration. But if it is the power is lost, if maybe there is kind of outage, power outage, this all information will vanish. That is the reason we save everything in a startup configuration. So when the router or the switch boot up, they get all the information from where? From startup configuration. Okay, means your passwords, your IP addresses, everything is saved on this startup configuration. So it is mentioned the default router looks for a startup configuration file in NVRAM and for iOS image flash. So if this thing is enabled 0x212, and you have to remember this by heart, these things. So it means when this thing is enabled, it will always look for startup configuration. But you remember our password, it's saved where?
In the startup config?
On startup configuration. What if we ignore this startup configuration? That is the thing there we come here. 0x2142 will ignore the startup configuration. It means it will bypass everything and we will be in the console without asking any kind of password. Okay.
Okay.
But how we can reach to this thing at the first place? This is the thing. 0x2100 will take us into the ROM monitor mode. Have you ever come across with the issues when something happened wrong with your Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 10, and you go into another mode, which is what?
Yeah. You can go in a safe mode.
Safe mode. This is the same concept.
Okay.
ROM mode. In case of router switches, we call it ROMMON, ROM mode. Okay.
Okay.
So from where we get these things? We get from configuration register. Conf minus register. This is the command from where we are going to change these values. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a case study. You are working as IT network admin in a company. You need to access the Cisco router or the switch using console cable. But unfortunately, you have forgotten the password. You need to take an immediate action to reset the password. So these are the steps I have mentioned. Connect a console port or cable, reboot the device, and hit Control plus break. If you have a real netgears, you have real networking devices like Cisco router switches or at your home, then you have to press Control plus break key from your keyboard. Okay, but since we are using a packet tracer, this is a command Control C.
Okay.
This is known as break sequence. Just like, you know, have you ever installed a Windows 7, Windows 8 on your computer?
I did it virtually, not.
How you enter into BIOS? Usually they have kind of like F2 key.
Yes.
F10 key. Okay, so this is the same concept.
Okay.
You have to hit like Control break or Control C from the keyboard to enter into which mode? Safe mode, which is ROM mode.
Okay.
Okay. Then what I said in the earlier slide, then you have to modify the configuration register to this value if you want to ignore the startup configuration. Reset the password and revert back this configuration register to 0x21 02, because we don't want to ignore once we have reset the password. Now we don't want to ignore the startup configuration. We want startup configuration. So we will revert back from this to this one. Okay.
Okay.
So what you need to do now, we have to follow the same step that I talked. First of all, I need to connect what console cable. Console with RS232. Okay. Now we need to hit enter. From terminal, we have access to this switch. Okay. And we are in the switch, by the way. We can change the password here, but we don't want to. I have no idea whether we have saved or no. Just a minute. Copy, run, start, and exit this one. Now try to access this. Enable Cisco 123. Cisco, it means password is not working. Okay.
Okay.
So what measurements you have to take? You have to restart the router. How you can restart the router or the switch?
By typing Control-C in Packet Tracer?
No, but no, actually,
sorry.
no. You're right. But the problem is in this physical device, I don't have capability, by the way. To switch it off. I don't have. Okay, so let's very quickly.
Yeah. Physically, we just remove the
yes, physically we will power card. Exactly. So what we can do, take the switch, and I will very quickly do the same thing what I did with the switch. Just a minute. I will go into line console 0. Enable, password is Cisco and login. Then line VTY 04, password is Cisco and login. Okay, these are the same things we have configured on the switch. So this is like I'm doing provisioning.
Okay.
Then I need to enable password or enable secret. Let's make enable secret like this one and save the configuration. Now I exit. I hit enter. The password is what? Cisco.
Yeah.
And enable password is what? We have no idea. Okay, so this is the thing we want to figure it out, how we can do. So what we can do, we can remove this thing and even this switch as well. And now we will console cable from console of the router and RS232. Okay.
Okay.
So just instead of switch, we use router. Now we go into this terminal. Okay. And you can see we are stuck in the same thing. Now what we need to do, we need to restart the router. So what you can do, I will keep these both things here so you can see what is going on. You need to go into physical and we have here power. Switch off, switch on. As soon as this thing appear, enter Control-C.
Okay.
We have reached into what? ROM on mode, ROM monitor mode, which is basically just like a safe mode. Okay.
Okay.
Now, you know, this thing is different than iOS command line. That is totally different. You to check what command does it have, you have to press question mark and you can see what we have currently here. The commands will not run the same way that we run in, in iOS, this way in the router. This is something separate thing.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
we have config-reg, configuration register utility. You have to change this one, conf-reg, and what we discussed, what we have to change to?
We have to change it to 0.
2142. That will basically ignore the startup configuration. Okay.
Okay.
So what you need to do, type config-reg and 0x2142 and hit enter. Then this is a command, system reset. It will basically reload this router. Hit reset and enter. Now you can see, because the startup configuration has been ignored. Once the startup configuration has been ignored, the router is now start to ask you again, like what is the host name, what is the IP, what is everything, because it has ignored startup configuration. But the important part is here. We want to have those information again. What we saved in startup configuration. We don't want to remove. We want to have our old configuration back.
Okay.
Otherwise, let's suppose in your production environment, you have configured like, thousands of lines of something in your router or the switch. Then you forgot the password. Do you think you will remove everything and you will configure again everything? No. You want to keep the same information, but just what you want to ignore the password. So it will not ask for the password. Okay. So what it's saying, would you like to enter into initial configuration dialog mode? No, because I have already saved everything inside it.
Okay.
Now you can go enable mode. Now it is not asking for password. Now you go into show running mode. You will see nothing is saved. Why? Because this is your running configuration.
Okay.
Running configuration. Where you save those all configuration? Into your startup configuration. So if you click startup, you can see the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. So first thing first, enable secret and give Cisco 123. Hit enter. Now copy startup configuration to running configuration. And sorry, now you have to change the enable secret, configure mode, enable secret 123 or Cisco 123, sorry. So we are reverting back to the configuration that we have did earlier. Show running configured. This time you can see all your startup configuration has been saved into your running, but this is still not saved. So you can do again, copy startup configuration into the running configuration. Save this time. Okay, another thing, to check the config-reg, which we talked about here, this. How you can see what is the current config-reg configuration on this router. You can type show version and hit enter. Here is the information about that configuration register. Which is what?
Which is the startup configuration.
Ignore startup configuration. Oh. Yes, you're right. You are right. Which is ignoring startup configuration.
Yeah.
Just a minute. I cannot go back.
Yes.
0x214, which we
Yes.
changed in ROM on mode. You remember we changed the
Yes.
configurations to this one, but the by default what was what? This one,
Mm-hmm.
which is the proper configuration. Okay.
Okay.
So what I need to do though, if I go correlate with my steps, we have gone through this one, we have gone through this one, we did this one. Now we need to revert back to what? 0x2102 from this. To check that one, I have already shown you. You will run show version command, and the version command will show you what you are currently on the configuration register. So what you can do configuration terminal, go into config register, and you need to provide that thing 0x2102, which is this one. We are reverting back to our old steps, like the default router looks into startup configuration, because we have set our password already. Save this one. Now again do show version. What is it written here?
Next reload.
Next reload. It means before it was like this, but now I change to this one. But it is saying this change will be done after reloading this router. So, okay, let's follow the step. What is it saying? Reload this one and say yes. Now I have same Cisco, enable Cisco 123. Oh my God. But I guess I haven't saved that one. I guess it is not saved.
So we should save before we revert.
Yes, exactly. We have to save. This is the thing, I didn't take my own advice here. Modify the configuration and then reset the password and revert the configuration register back. Okay, so you need to reset the password as well. So these are basically the steps. If I go very quickly, if I can do just a minute. And I will just, sorry, I will go to this router. I will physically disconnect and will again do Control C to go into ROM on mode. Confrag 0x2142. Enter and reset. Okay, so we are again into the same thing that we have done before. So go into no, enable, and show running configuration. Configuration has been not saved here. Okay, so you need to go into show startup configuration, and you can see the enable secret is still there. That the gibberish. I guess I changed enable password there. So you have to put enable secret like Cisco 123. Okay. Save the configuration, show running configuration again, and it is not changing. This looks another bug. Okay, just a minute. First of all, remove this one. No enable secret. You remember that to negate any command, you have to put the no at the first. Okay. Then copy running configuration to startup. Show startup configuration. No service password, and we do not have any kind of password here. So we need to put password again. Enable secret Cisco 123. Copy running configuration to startup configuration again. Now check show running. And this is, I think this is Cisco 123, by the way. Because I told you, we have enable password. And another one is enable secret. The password is a clear text. The secret will be like this. You remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Okay. So what I will do, just to not to make it confuse, I will remove enable secret. And I will put enable password Cisco 123 so we can see. Show running configuration, and you can see it has been changed. Okay. And show startup configuration. Want to take a look. This is your show startup configuration. If I do exit, hit enter, do enable, and type Cisco 123, I'm in. Okay.
Yes.
So you have to keep these, these steps in mind. So we have done this one as well, this lab, password lost. So migrating to SSH, and then we have level of security. Okay. Can you digest, Crystal?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So let's go to the SSH. Previously, we were doing what?
Previously, the last step we were when we lost the password, we saw the step to follow to kind of.
No, with what method we were using? We were using console.
Yes.
We were using what? Another thing. Telnet.
Okay.
Okay, but we said that Telnet is a clear text. But what we want to use SSH.
Okay.
Which is encrypted. Okay, so it has some step basically to access that one. So before we do, I need to make some configuration into that router. We need to go into that router again using terminal. Okay. And so first of all, we need to put the IP to this interface on the router. If you do show IP interface brief, we have these two interfaces on this router. So I'm going to give one IP to this fast Ethernet 0. So I can access using Telnet. Interface fast Ethernet 0/0, IP address 192.168.1.1, 255.255.255. This is subnet mask and no shut. Okay. Show IP interface brief. So still the same issue. We have status is up, but protocol is down because nothing is connected with the Ethernet port. Okay, another thing, since I am here, I will go line V device 0 to 4. I will put password, which is Cisco, and login. Then enable secret Cisco 123. Okay, is the same you enabled password. This is not same, by the way. Okay, enable secret 123 Cisco. Okay. This you are already familiar. That's why I went very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I will try to access using what? Telnet.
Okay.
So you need to connect.
The Ethernet.
Yeah, you need to connect fast and then with the 0/0. And on which interface we configured IP, by the way? Just let's confirm. Yeah, it's on fast Ethernet 0. That's the reason it is up. Okay, and up and up. For verification, you can do show IP interface brief. You can see it is up and up. So I will put the IP as well, 1.1, which I have given to this router. So let's try to first of all ping this my router to see the connectivity. So I can ping my router or no?
You can.
Yeah, because if a router is not pingable, you cannot do telnet or SSH. Okay. So now you need to telnet this device, and you know how telnet do. Telnet, then 192.168.1.1, and click connect. And now you can see we can access Cisco, enable Cisco 123. Sorry, 123 Cisco. Yeah. So I can access this one. But from our knowledge, we know that telnet is clear text. So if anyone is sitting in between and taking a look of using packet tracer or sniffer, he can see the password, which is 123 Cisco. Okay. So what is the remedy? Is the SSH.
SSH, yeah.
So in case to access using SSH, let's do the same thing. SSH host name is 192.168.1.1, and what is the username? We haven't configured.
Yeah.
So it means for the SSH, we must have username kind of things. But that was not the case in a telnet. Telnet, simple. So the first thing first, we have to enable. Sorry, I need to go into the terminal because we have console cable is connected. So these are the commands for enabling SSH on your router. First thing first, you have to change the host name of this router. You can means other than what is default, you have to put like router one underscore USA, something like that. Router one underscore floor one, like this. Okay. By doing this host name, what it did, it changed the name of your router. Before it was router, but now it is router one floor. So this is like one of the requirement of SSH. Then you have to put IP domain name, which you can make like job skill share.org. Okay, you can put any name. Then third thing is crypto key generate RSA. So this is basically the thing that it will help us communicate our SSH with our router.
Okay.
So these are the keys that they will negotiate first, before they will make a connection. So if I hit enter, it is saying whether you want to use this, how many bits for this encryption, 512, or there is another one stronger, 1024. This is by default 512. Okay. We want to use a strong encryption. So you can type manually 1024 and hit enter. It is saying generating 1024 RSA keys will be non-exportable. It means the keys has been generated. After that, you will get another notification saying SSH is enabled. Okay. And which version is enabled?
Version
1.99. But when we have another version, which is SSH 2. So why we will use the old when we have the new one? So for that, you have to use command IP SSH and the version. Which version you want to use? The 2. And hit enter. Okay.
Okay.
One of another requirement. I told you we have to create the username.
Yeah.
Okay, because in the SSH it requires. So let's make it username. Username. Let's make it username ABC. Password is ABC as well. Okay, so we can keep remember this one. So we have created one username and password for this user basically. You can create multiple users as well here. Okay, and that we will do in next slide. So we have gone through these all requirements. We created the host name. We created the IP domain. Then we created the crypto key. We enabled SSH version 2. And then in last, we have created a username ABC and password ABC. So remember, you sometimes I forget these things. So you can also help me out with that. Okay, last thing. We need to go where? Line with terminal VTY04. Because we are going to access using what? SSH. Okay. There you have to mention transport input. What? This is by default. Telnet. Transport input means when I'm going to access my router, use it Telnet. Telnet is by default. But what I want, SSH.
Yeah.
I have to mention this one. So I'm telling that I want to access using SSH. Login will be, and just hit enter first of all, login. That's it. Save the configuration. Okay, these are the total commands we require. Now we will close the console. Now we will go back again to Telnet. You remember last time we accessed using Telnet, but this time we will use what? SSH. Host name is what?
The host name is the IP. Okay.
1.1.
Okay.
And the username is
ABC.
ABC. Yes, you're right. Now try to connect. And what's the password?
ABC.
ABC, I guess. Yeah. Cisco, yeah. So it didn't take the password for that username because I will tell you why. It took the same enable password here. And 123 Cisco. Now we are in. But this time we are accessing this our console using what? Not console, iOS device using SSH. So what was that problem happening? I will take you back to that terminal. Click OK. In line VTY04, you remember what I put command for login? Just login. I hit enter. Login means you will take the default password that I set here. That was Cisco. Okay. But if you want to use that username and password kind of thing, you have to use what? Login local. Okay. So this is login local when you have to use username and password things. So let's try this one. Login local. And again, confirm that what username and password I have put for my username ABC and password is ABC. Let's try this one. I hope this will work. You need to go into Telnet SSH 192.168.1.1. Username is ABC. Yeah. And try password ABC. Now I tried password ABC this time. Okay. And enable is what? Password 123 Cisco, I guess. Yeah. Yep. So entering into enable mode, the password is different. But when you are logging using Telnet or SSH, if I put on line VTY 0 to 4, that you have to use login. Login means whatever the credentials I have put, like enable password. Sorry, not enable password. Sorry. Whatever the password I have given in the line VTY, like password Cisco. So it will take from here. But what I said, login local. Login local means it will ignore this password and will take whatever the username and password I have configured. And I can show why I'm doing like this. As you can see, line VTY, the password I put what? Cisco. When I was doing login only. But now I'm doing login local. When it has to do with the local, whatever I locally created the credentials, like username is ABC and password is 0. Okay, so this is for login local. Got it?
Yeah.
Any confusion?
No, I think when it's login local, we have to specify username and password.
Yes, exactly. And simple login when you are doing like this, this one. Okay. So let's go to the case study, and I hope we have accomplished this task as well. Let's move to next slide. Multiple level of security. This is very simple, like, I told you show privilege. This is level 15 privilege. If I go to, disable, and if I do show privilege, what is level here?
1.
1. Why do we need these things? I have talked already. So if you have any idea.
Yes, you say that when they show 15, that means we can connect 15 devices.
No. That is line VTY.
Uh-oh.
I'm talking about the privileges. Privileges mean 15 means the highest level.
Mm.
Highest level means you have so many commands to run. You can run any kind of command.
Okay.
Level 1 means you cannot do much. A very little commands will be available, which I can show you here. Now I am on which mode?
Level 1. Now you are on user mode.
User mode. If I do show, and you can see how many commands we have here.
Mm.
But when I go into enable mode, 1, 2, 3 Cisco, I guess. Yeah. Now you will see we have much more commands as compared to this.
Mm.
Okay. So it means this is level 15 commands, these all.
Mm.
And these are at level 1. So this is what I am talking about here. Multiple level of securities. Your company hired a new IT junior admin who will work with you at a night shift. So you want to basically give this junior admin a different privileges. Okay. And you remember we did username and password.
Yep.
There's another thing, privileges also appear in the same command. And there you can mention what kind of privilege you can assign to that. So for example, if I go to the console and I create another username, this time I will DEF, password is DEF. Sorry. If you do username DEF and hit question mark, you will see privileges, which is saying set a user privilege level. So I'm gonna set privilege level 15 here this time. And the password is Cisco, or let's make it DEF as well. So we have a better idea. Hit enter, save the configuration, go show running. So we can take a look. We have 2 usernames. As you can see, one is with this one, simple one, and another one with a privilege level 15. Okay. Now we try to access now this this device again. Telnet, SSH. The first user was ABC, yeah? Sorry.
Yes, I mean the OC is the IP.
192.168.1.1. First try with the DEF, okay?
Okay.
Click connect. The password was DEF. Enter, and you can see where we are landed. Which mode?
Privilege mode.
Privilege level what? 15.
Okay. Okay.
You can confirm here as a show privilege level 15. But if I exit it out, yes, I will just disconnect this one. And I will again SSH with what user ABC, ABC. I will click connect. The password was what?
ABC.
ABC. Now I'm where?
1.
1. Did you get why?
Because when we create, we specify.
Exactly. Yes, this is it. Show running. Here we can confirm. For this, we said by default, it will hit privilege level what?
1.
1. But we mentioned when you will log in, you will go into privilege level 15.
15.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing that, I mentioned here. So this is the multiple level of security when you are accessing your device. Okay.
Okay.
So let's hit another lab. And I guess, yeah, this is going to be the last one. These are very small, but very useful and informative commands. These two, logging synchronous and exit timeout. And there is another one as no IP domain lookup, which I'm going to show. So first thing first, logging synchronous. I have logged in this one. Basically, when the packet tracer, it doesn't work like this way. But if I'm on a real net, real gears, if I do configuration and if I will control Z back, basically it will interrupt my whatever I'm typing here. Okay. For example, if I type interface fast ethernet 0/1 IP address 192.168.1.2.255.255.255.0. Sorry, you can change the IP 2.2 and hit enter. And if I do control Z and type doing anything, show IP interface brief. Okay. So this thing appear where? Here somewhere. Here, right after here. Okay. So there is a disconnect, means if you are typing command frequently, it will bother you a lot, So the best idea to do that, to figure that out, you can go into line console 0 and you need to type logging synchronous and hit enter. Okay. So this is one of the command. Then I will show you. You just keep remember this command. I will show you when we will hit just like GNS3 or something like that. You will get this thing a lot there, this issue. So to solve that issue, you can do login sync and you can take it as assignment as well. Why not? Okay.
Okay.
You can search out what logging synchronous command do. What is the problem and what is happening? We use this command. Then we have exit timeout. In Microsoft Windows, when you don't do anything, what happens? When there is no any kind of activity, what happens?
You are kicked out?
Yes, basically you are logged out. This is a kind of security. So exit timeout is the same thing. For example, you are on a console right now, okay? And maybe you are on break. You went somewhere to do a lunch, but you forgot to basically, log out this session. So we have the remedy. Line console 0. Then we have where somewhere exit timeout. This is it. You can type exit timeout. And by default, it is, I guess, if I'm not wrong, 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, your session will be kicked out. Yeah. So you can mention here how many minutes. Let's say make it let's 20 minutes, and that's it. So if you will keep this session open and do nothing after 20 minutes, it will be kicked out. Okay.
Okay.
Then, for example, if you mistype something, see, it is started to translate. This is very hectic thing. To avoid such thing, First of all, you have to hit Control plus Shift plus 6, this from the keyboard. If you get something like this, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to hit this thing, Control Shift 6. Now I'm out. But nobody is the perfect typewriter, by the way. Nobody can type perfectly the correct words. So means most of the often we come across with the issue, we misspell something. Like if you're typing IP address, do you type IP ADDD address and you do something like this? It is not coming, but you misspell something. Like in case, like I did. Now it start to translating. It basically is trying to resolve the host name. To solve this issue, what you can do, Control Shift 6.
Shift 6.
Yeah. No, Control Shift 6 is you can come out from this thing, but I don't want this thing. I mean, every time I'm misspelling. So what you can do, go into configuration mode. You can do IP domain lookup, IP, just a minute, IP domain lookup. But you have to negate this command, no IP domain lookup, because I'm not looking for any domain lookup. Okay. Save this and now type to misspell. Now you can see before this thing was coming, looking for, but now this thing has cleared. Now you can misspell many times as you want. Okay. So that was the additional thing. It was not added here, but I have forgiven. Copy command. You can copy your configuration to these two things are same, like host name. First, let's do this thing, these things. Okay. Host name, and this will hit in the end. Host name, you familiar with what is host name?
Yes, to change the name of the device. Yeah.
For example, if I want to change, I change host name R1. That's it. It is saved. Okay.
Yes.
Then we have time. You need to sync your time with your debuggings, because time is very important thing in your networking. You have one switch here. You have another switch here. Maybe it is connected with the trunk link. Okay. And your time is like 2012 here. And your 2021 is here. Okay. And this link is down. You will get syslogs. So basically what your syslog will be mentioning about the time, what time this interface went down. It will be saying like 5 o'clock, 10 minutes, 10 seconds, and what year?
2012.
12, yes. We don't want. If this link is down, of course, this is syncing. And another remedy is NTP, by the way. Network time protocol. We have one, we will make one as a server and we will sync it with the correct time, and the rest of your all devices will sync with it. So that is network time protocol. So this is just like add-ons. Time we will set. I will show you how. If you want to check the clock, you can see show clock and you can see what time is it right now. 1993. Because it is not synced. What you can do, you can set your clock. I guess it's a set. Just a minute. Set or clock. Yep. Yes, this is a command. Clock set. Okay. So what is mentioning here? Hours, minutes, and second. So if we correlate it with our current time, what we can do, current hours at according to my Pakistan zone. Okay. it is 11 or 23 minutes and let's say 50 seconds. Then it is asking day of the month or month of the year. A month of the year, let's say make it September. Day of the month is what? 18.
Okay.
And year is what? 2021. And hit enter. Save the configuration. Now do show clock. Now the clock has been synced. Okay. So we have covered time, we have covered host name, we have covered exit timeout, we have covered logging sales. The final step piece of information is copy command. For that, I'm going to create a new topology. Let's take the switch. And this time we are gonna select server. We will make this server as a TFTP server. And do you know what TFTP is?
Yes.
What is it?
Transfer file.
File, exactly. So basically, what is the idea? Idea is backing up our all configuration from switch or router to this server.
Okay.
What if this what all configuration has been removed? Like, you know, your junior admin, he was playing with something and they just, you know, did something wrong and all configuration gone. What you will do?
You need to
backup.
Yeah.
If you have only if you have a backup.
Yeah.
Okay. So how you can do it? Just connect this switch. Then I'm gonna put IP for this 192.168.1.100 as a TFTP server. You need to go into the server. First of all, provide the IP. IP is 192.168.1.100. Okay.
Okay.
Then under services tab, we have multiple services. But what service I'm going to use? TFTP. So these are by default, I'm going to remove. So, you know, from here, you can just keep clicking and these files will be removed. I have already enabled the TFTP servers. It is by default is enabled. By the way, you can off this one as well. Okay, so the TFTP servers is running. Now we need to go into the switch. I wish if this switch provide me this setting to save, by the way, but let's try. Otherwise we can use the router. Okay, to check, you know, like in our computer, we have what operating system? What operating system could be? Windows 10, 8, 7. And where it is saved?
The OS is saved on the hard disk.
Hard disk on C drive most of the time. Okay. What happens here? If you want to check where is our operating system is saved, you can type show flash. So flash, you remember what is flash? When we talked about the memory?
Yeah.
So this is one of the same thing. So it means our operating system is saved on this flash. But what I want to save this to where? My server. And currently, if I take you to the server and server TFTP, we do not have any kind of file here. Okay.
Okay.
So what we can do?
Copy.
Copy. Yes. And this is a command. The first thing that is come is from. The another thing is to. Okay.
Okay.
So what we gonna do here right now? We want to just copy this file name so we can correlate it in our server that we have saved the same. Okay, so copy command is copy and hit question mark. You can see from to. From where you want to save? You want to save from where? From flash.
Yeah, from
Flash. Okay.
okay.
From flash to where?
Server.
Server. But which server?
TFTP.
The TFTP server. So I'm typing TFTP and hit enter. So it is asking what is the source file name. Source file name I already copied. This is the source file name. Hit enter. Address or name of the remote host. What is the remote host address? Can you tell me?
Yes. 192.168.1.100.
Yes, exactly. Remote host means the TFTP server.
Yeah.
Hit enter. Destination file name, you want to change or want to keep the same name. Okay, no problem. What is odd if I keep the same name? Just hit enter. If you want to change the name, you can type, but I don't want. Hit enter. But it will not save. Sorry for that. Why? Because I haven't given IP to this switch.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
This is good that I made this mistake, by the way. Control Shift 6 again. 2, because it was kept waiting here. I just don't want to keep waiting. I just want to go on this mode. So Control Shift 6. Okay. So by default, what is interface VLAN 1 and IP address from the same range 192.168.1.1 255.255.255.0. Sorry, 255.0 and no shut. So I will try to first of all ping. You know, this is the first thing you will do. Ping your TFTP server.
Okay.
Let's see if I can ping. Now I have a reachability. Okay. Now do the same thing what I did earlier. Copy from flash to TFTP. Source file name.
Flash.
I guess it is already.
Oh, the source, yeah. So,
yep. Host name is 192.168.1.100. Destination file name, I want to keep the same and hit enter. When you will see, just a minute. When you will see these symbols, these are bad.
okay.
But if you will see exclamation, these points, it means everything is going very good. Okay.
Okay.
And it is saying how many bytes have been copied in these seconds. Okay, to confirm that, you can click on this server, go to the TFTP, and here we have this file.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing that I just want to show you that you can enable TFTP server on your. This doesn't mean that is some full TFTP server. This is just one. If I can show Cisco TFTP software. These could be normal TFTP softwares, you know. TFTP software images. Like this one. Most of the time, this one is being used. TFTP 4.6.4 for Windows. Okay. On Windows machine, you can download this software and then you can run. Let me check if I have that. I can show you. Yeah, here it is. Can you see the?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So this is the directory you can mention, and this will be the IP address of this server interface, basically, which will be like 192.168.31.1. That means IP of my machine. My machine. Okay.
Okay.
And then this is the same concept like we did there. There we are using server, but you can use a computer, normal PC, and top of that you will download that TFTP
Okay.
application. Okay. So any confusion?
Just in that case, in the case that you will use a PC, we download the application and we're going to use the address of the PC, the IP address of the PC.
Yes.
Okay.
And we will tell to the router to save that configuration file, that like we did here. Like we told this IP. This IP will be what?
The IP of the
Machine IP.
Okay.
My normal PC IP.
Okay.
Okay. And then this file will be saved where? Will be saved into the directory of this this TFTP 64, like this show directory here.
Okay.
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 So with that,